There's a thing that comes up in most pieces about you, and it concerns your parents and the subject of liquor.
Yes.
And I gather your parents were both alcoholic.
Yes, they were.
Have you? I've never heard you talk about this much, and
Well,
I don't want to pry if it's not any of my or anybody's business, but there are things to learn, I guess, from that.
Yes, I didn't live with them that long. I lived with my grandmother mostly. But my dad drank ever since I could remember. My mother didn't. And then she just started drinking to keep him company.
Yeah.
And then she became an alcoholic, and then they split up. And I was living with my grandmother. My mother was living across the hall from us in an apartment in Hollywood with my kid sister. And I would see him on weekends. He did go on the wagon for a year or so when my grandmother, his mother, was ill. And that was a terrific time with my dad, to see him totally sober for a whole year, year and a half.
Yeah.
He was a kind drunk. My mother was a nasty drunk, but she was funny, had a great sense of humor, and used to sit and drink and play the ukulele in the kitchen and sing songs. And I don't think it really affected me that much. I don't turn down a drink. I will have a drink, but I will certainly never be an alcoholic. I know sometimes they say it's inherited, but I had a good childhood in spite of that, because all of my friends, none of us had any money, and we all went to the movies and played the games, and they all had their problems. In fact, a couple of my close girlfriends, their fathers were drunks, and I didn't know at the time it is a disease. It's nothing to be, shunned or anything. I only wish, if I had one wish, that they had lived long enough until I was making enough money to cure them, because I think they had just lost their goals in life, and they just found it in the bottle. And if I could have just had enough to take care of them, and I don't know what to do, send them someplace, dry them out, or give them something to look forward to,
Gee, I can't imagine anything more frightening for a kid than to see your parents out of control.
Well, I had my grandmother, my mother's mother, and she was a character, and I could go any place I wanted to or do anything I wanted, really. They never checked on me, my grandmother. I'd say, well, I'm going over to Isla Mae's house, and I'll be back tomorrow morning. But I'd go to Isla Mae's house, and I'd be back tomorrow morning. I wouldn't go fool around or anything. I drew a lot, and...
Does a kid blame himself somehow secretly? Are there instances of maybe you're the cause of it? I suppose that sounds a bit too pat and psychoanalytic.
No, I've never blamed myself for it. That was their problem. I was just sorry that I couldn't help them.
Did you ever plead with them to cut it out?
Oh, yeah. Sure. You can't plead to... The family can't, I don't think. It has to come... They have to do it themselves, and they have to realize they've hit the bottom. And
what about AA or something like that? Did they ever?
That's fine for some people. I think it's wonderful. And there's another place I know, Shadle in Washington, where it's the physical thing that they're absolutely allergic to alcohol, and they give them a whole lot and make them regurgitate, and it's a whole treatment that some people go through that has worked.
Shock
Yeah,
method?
they retrain you to be a non-drinker, which is one way. AA is a beautiful way, too.
How did you explain? You have a younger sister. It must have been
Chris,
a little
yeah. Oh,
frightening
well,
for
all
her.
she knew my mother was when she was loaded. My kid sister, she was... But she wasn't, I said before, a nasty drunk. That was only if somebody crossed her, because she had a very quick tongue and would really let you have it. But other than that, she was very funny and very pretty up until the end. And then, of course, all bloated and everything. It was a pity, because they both died at the age of 46.
Same.
Not the same.
Oh,
she was
same
4
age.
years younger. And they were both beautiful-looking people.
And they never saw any of your success, or?
My mother saw me do one Ed Sullivan show, and my dad never did see me work, no.
Were you close to them up till the end?
Yes, I kidnapped my kid sister from my mother.
Yeah.
She was 12, and I went home and visited my mother, and I saw that my kid sister was going in the wrong direction, I felt, and was not being supervised. And so I talked to my mother in kind of a sober moment, and I said, let me bring Chris back to New York with me and tell her it's just for Christmas. And I said, but I want to keep her. And she said, okay. And I brought her back, and then she thought she was going to go back to school, and I wouldn't let her go, and she got hysterical. She was 12. Oh, I have to go back. My life is there in California. I said, please stay with me. And she called my mother and so forth.
Yeah.
My mother said, stay with Carol. It'll be better. And Chris said she would, and then our mother died 10 days later.
Gee.
Yeah, so I guess she then knew Chris would be all right.
Yeah. Do you see in any of this, do you buy the old idea that the theater or the stage or the television or the show business is the refuge of the unhappy child? You know,
I've
that
heard
theory?
that a whole lot, but as I say, I
Well, you
was
were
not
happy.
unhappy. I had my little fantasies going, you know.
Yeah.
I could be Tarzan and Sheena. And
Yeah. I guess there could be a counter theory too, that the happy child goes into show business because it's the only place you can get the kind of
yeah.
affection
Yeah,
maybe,
right,
or
yeah.
the kind of tension, or the same rush of fantasy or whatever you said.
Oh, I think you tap anybody's brain when they're little and they're going to want to go into show business. It's just fun.
Yeah. Do you insist your kids don't drink as a result of the? Did
No.
you say?
Well, they're 10, 5, and 7, so